Hi guys, Andy here, and today we're doing a little text adventure called Camp Stabbiwaka. I previously did this the other day, but somehow Bandicam did not fucking capture it at all, so I'm gonna do it again. Uh, your puttering old car bumps down the desolate woodsy road through the forest. A few weeks ago you graduated high school, and now you're on your way to work as a camp counselor at Camp Stabbiwaka. The sweet singing of insects and birds seems to have eerily dissipated as you venture further into the grove. You sit in your car alone, driving down the winding path. It's late afternoon. Your mind begins to wander as you begin thinking about how much you'll have fun with kids at the camp. I wish I went to camp. I never got to go to camp. My parents didn't want me to go to camp. How much money you'll make working this summer, trust me. There's no you will never find joy working during the summer. Your chances of hooking up with potentially hot coworkers, I'm not good for romance. And the nagging feeling of nervousness in the back of your mind. Let's go with nervousness, because when I first started working, I fucking threw up. My first day. Not at work, at home, in the bathroom. You can't shake a feeling of uneasiness. Something doesn't feel right. You continue driving down the quiet road. Continue driving in silence. Play your favorite CD. Let's turn on the radio, because if you play the CD, there's going to be some copyrighted music. I'm not getting my ass copyrighted again. You scroll through the hiss of radio static for a couple of minutes before coming up on one of the few working channels in these woods. Breaking news: Redgate prisoner Charles Akron, convicted murderer of 8 people over the last 3 years, has escaped custody mere weeks before his death sentence was to be carried out. Please be on the lookout for zzz. The radio report fades into static. Redgate prison is only a few miles away from these woods. That's a bit unsettling. Hey! Someone calls out from the side of the road up ahead. You jump at first. You haven't seen anyone in at least half an hour. Yet now there's a young, muscular man shouting out to you. He looks to be in his early 20s and has a thick black beard and a backpack. He wants to get a ride. Let's give him a ride, because I'm not going to drive past him. You pull to the side of the road and gesture to the man. A wide grin appears on his face and he hops in the passenger seat of your car, pushing through the pile of empty styrofoam cups and burger wrappers at his feet. Thanks, man, says the bearded dude. My name's Davy. Are you working at Camp Stabbiwaka? Yeah, you respond. I'm going to be a counselor there. Were you really walking all the way there? My car broke down about a month ago, replies Davy. I took a bus to the entrance of this forest road and started walking. And I love the outdoors and exercise. Really clears the mind. You know, I don't mind it, but it's starting to get dark, so I figured I'd try to get a ride. I like the outdoors too. I'm all for a good jog or bike ride. I'm more of an indoors kind of guy. Did you see the new movie that just came out? Uh, Normally I'm indoors, but I kind of want to get points with this guy. I'm sorry you can hear me. I have like two breath mints in my mouth right now, just because I like breath mints. But we're gonna go with I like outdoors. Right on, dude, says Davey as he throws his fifth thumb and pinky extended and wiggles it as if to say, hang 10. Who the fuck does that? Like, really? The two of you continue driving down the long road for perhaps 15 more minutes before reaching the campground. There are a few other counselors walking around, prepping the camp for the arrival of kids in the next few days. You throw your duffel bag over your shoulder and stretch your legs. You approach a slender girl that looks about your age and scratch the back of your head in thought. Do you know where we put our stuff, you ask. The girl points across the campground to the staff cabins, one for guys and one for girls. She has long blonde hair and stunning blue eyes. My name's June, she tells you as you exchange introductions. She points out to a distant cloud in the sky. It's puffy, large, and very tall. It looks like it might rain, she says. I always forget. What are those kind of clouds called? You respond. Cumulus. Cirrus and Stratus. I think Cumulonimbus. There we go. Oh yeah, that's right, she says before looking back to you. She brushes her long golden hair out of her eyes. Tell a joke, you know what? You're very beautiful. So which side of the bunk bed do you want? So, what do you like to do? Go put your stuff away. Let's tell a joke. Tell a joke, but which one? The one about the snail, the one about the whales, or the one about the child molester? Jesus Christ, let's go with the snail. So one day, this guy hears a knock at his door. You begin. He opens it and sees a snail. The guy gets all mad and throws the snail as far as he can go, then goes back to his breakfast. A year later, he hears another knock at the door. He opens it and sees the same snail. The snail's like, "What the hell was that for?" June chuckles and gives you a friendly slap on the arm. "You're a dork," she jokes. The two of you laugh and converse for several more minutes before you split up and you head off to the staff cabins to drop off your stuff. You continue. Wait. You push open the creaky screen door to the cabin. Creak. You take a few steps into the dimly lit cabin. You're standing in a main room with 4 unsanitary cots. You toss your duffel bag down on one of the unclaimed beds when you see a large spider crawling across your sheets. Squish it or jump away. My instinct would be to squish it. What happens if I jump away? I don't remember. Let's squish it. You fearlessly take your shoe off and slam it onto the spider, splattering it into a gooey mass. You brush the deceased arachnid off of your stuff when you catch a moving shadow in the corner of your eye. You turn around to see a guy about your age, complete with a curly head of messy brown hair, socks and sandals. That spider didn't even see it coming, laughs the guy. Must have not had a very good spider sense. My name's DC. Well, Dougie Carter, but everyone calls me DC. You talk to the lanky dude for a few minutes. You ever notice how you never see a spider laying out relaxed, legs stretched out? They're always ready to scare you. Or tell him it was a brown recluse. Ew. Brown recluses can do some serious damage. I remember a teacher I had. Uh, he had it. He got bit by one. He was out for like a month or something like that. You ever know? Oh, wait. DC laughs at your joke, imagining the spider stretching out and taking a nap. You're a funny dude, bro. He throws on a plaid hoodie that has a logo reading Elements 92 and has an image of a red arrow pointing upwards inside a circle. You're Mark. Hey, is that Element a surfing company? A record label? Skateboard company or uranium? I think it's a skateboard company. Yeah, bro, laughs DC. I got a few boards back home. Nigel Houston is the man. The two of you laugh together for a few minutes before you both head out for a staff meeting. The evening sun is near setting now. You've gathered with 7 other people, including your boss, Mrs. Ernest, a tall black woman with short, curly black hair and a perpetual frown. Ah, I love frowns, don't you? They're so amazing. I mean, why smile? That's such an asshole thing to say, I'm sorry. Other than her, you recognize Davy, June, and DC, but there are 3 other young counselors that you haven't met yet. Mrs. Ernest quizzes the lot of you on the camp rulebook and safety precautions. She turns to you. What is the most important thing about Camp Stabbiwaka? She asks. The kids should learn and build character, the kids should explore and adventure, the safety of the kids, and the kids should have fun and make friends. The safety of the kids, because that's obviously the right answer. Very good, replies Mrs. Ernest. That is the main priority. If we had been a bit more conscious of safety a few years ago, we never would have had the incident. The incident. You and the rest of the you and the rest of the group continue going over the camp manuals until the sun sets. Finally, Mrs. Ernest wraps up her lecture and brings out a cooler of old hamburgers and chips. She heads back to her personal cabin and lets you all enjoy a late dinner. You cook up a burger and look around. To your left, there's a shy-looking girl with short red hair. She nervously sips the soda and gazes out into the woods, her green eyes glimmering in the cold light of the rundown gazebo eating area. To your right, you see a supple Hawaiian girl eating a handful of potato chips. She has thick, dark hair and a pretty smile. She gives you a glance and sends you a smile your way. Um, okay, I'm gonna sit with the Hawaiian because that's what I did last time. You introduce yourself to the slender girl. I'm Lai, she tells you as you take a seat on the bench beside her. The two of you laugh and chat for a few minutes. She ends up asking you, what activity do you want to run here at the camp? Exploring the forest, swimming, arts and craft, campfire stories. Let's go with campfire stories. I love stories, don't you? Oh, that's cool, says Lili. She doesn't seem genuinely interested. Hey, where's DC? Asked June from across the gazebo. You look around, but DC is gone. Who cares? Says the final man you haven't been introduced to. He's a tall, muscular man with a short, dark crew cut and dark eyes. Bruce is such a jerk, mutters Lili. You look out into the campground and see a shadow coming towards this gazebo. Who's that? Hey guys, it's just DC carrying a cooler. It's really starting to get dark out now as he drags the cooler to the center of the group. Everyone begins introducing themselves, and you take mental note of all the names and faces. June is the calm blue-eyed. DC is the chill skater bro. Davy's the outdoorsy beard guy. Lili is the Hawaiian hottie, and Kim is the red-haired shy girl. And Bruce is the dickish jock. Who wants a beer? Asks DC as he cracks open the cooler. He looks over to you. Thirsty? No, we're declining because beer is gross. You kick back and relax with your fellow young adults. DC, Bruce, and Lili start drinking while you, June, and Davy, and Kim politely decline. DC walks over to the fire pit and starts throwing together some sticks. He pulls out his lighter and starts a campfire. Jesus Christ. Everyone begins wandering over to the flames as they grow. Who do you sit next to? Um, let's sit next to Davy. You take a seat next to Davy on a large flat rock. He shoots you a friendly nod. So, did you hear the radio earlier? Begins Bruce, addressing the group as a whole. That fiendish murderer, Charles Akron, escaped from Redgate Prison. That's just a few miles away. Bruce ominously looks around the fire, smoke and ashes floating through the night air. Relax, laughs DC. This isn't Friday the 13th. He'll be caught by morning, no doubt, bro. That's not even the spookiest thing, says Davy as he points at the fire with a charred stick. He looks up at the group and takes a deep breath. I've heard. Count Stabbiwaka is haunted. Ooh, spooky. Davy continues his story. A few years ago, there was this kid that went to camp here. There was a tragic accident, some horrible neglect and absence of safety, and the kid drowned in Lake Stabbiwaka. His ghost haunts these campgrounds. I already fell out of a tree and broke his neck, says Kim. No, he was stung by a bee and had a fatal allergic reaction, argues Bruce. Well, whatever it was, there a terrible tragedy in which a camper died, says Davy. His spirit is angry and vengeful. Okay, if you say so. End of Act 1. Depending on your choices and interactions with the coworkers, you develop characteristics and build different relationships with them. We have 2 reckless, 4 cautious, 4 carefree, 3 thoughtful, and the highest relationship we have is with Davy, the hitchhiker that we hooked up. Well, hitchhiking camp counselor. And Bruce is the least because Bruce is an asshole. Come on, continue. Okay, there we go. You hear rustling in the bushes a few yards away. Davy and Bruce glance over to the woods. Must be an animal. Raccoon, maybe, says Davy. Bruce stands up. Maybe not. Investigate the noise, stay back. Let's investigate. You stand up and pick up a stick. Wander over to the bushes alongside Bruce and Davy. What is it? Asks Kim. You carefully lean into the bushes and peer through, straining your eyes in the dim moonlight. What is that? You hear a hurried crunch of twigs and something barreling off through the trees. The dark figure disappears into the grove. It's hard to tell in the darkness, but it looked like a person. It's just an animal, says Davy as he steps away from the edge of the forest. No, it wasn't. That was a person. Or say nothing. It was a person. There's a unanimous gasp from the group around the campfire. Davy looks at you quizzically. All I saw was a big fox. That got scared of us, then ran off into the woods. You're going to freak out everyone if you say stuff like that. Bruce sets up. I saw him too, he barks. Someone's out there, watching us. Kim stands up and takes a nervous step away from the woods. I'm going back to the cabin. Will someone come with me? Her voice cracks as she speaks. Davy volunteers. I'll walk you back there, he says. I was meaning to get something out of my bag anyway. Go with them or stay with everyone else? Let's stay with everyone else. You watch as Kim and Davy disappear into the darkness. Ooh, ghost story time, laughs Lily. Seriously, says DC, after all that weirdness. Kim's on the verge of tears because she's so scared. Yeah, but she just left, says Lily. I love a good scare. Lily turns to you and smiles. I bet you have a good ghost story. Am I right? Let's hear it. Tell the one about the hook hand guy. Tell the one about the alien abduction. Or don't tell a ghost story. Let's do the hook hand guy, because that always kills me. Are you done? Okay, she's done. Before you can begin your story, you hear an ear-splitting scream. What the hell is that? Says DC. He stands up, looking out towards where Kim and Davy went. That came from the staff cabins. June stands up as well. We have to go see what happened. Bruce remains seated and chuckles. Davy probably just came on too strong. I wouldn't want to be a cock block. It's not funny, Bruce. It sounds like someone's hurt. Seriously, Bruce laughs. That girl Kim was so on edge. I bet she just saw a bat and lost her mind. Don't waste your time. Let's go investigate. You go with June and DC toward the staff cabins to check out the screen. There's a woman approaching you in the moonlight. It's Kim. What happened? Asks June. He killed Davy, Kim hisses through tears. Someone came out of the woods and stabbed Davy in the stomach. Let's try to remain calm, says DC, who's clearly beginning to freak out as well. You hurry back to the campfire to warn the others. That sounded like Lili, says June. You round the corner and see a dark figure dashing off into the woods. Bruce chases the man into the forest fearlessly as Lili remains motionless on the cold ground. What's Bruce doing? That's crazy, cries DC. Lili is dead on the ground, throat slit, her blood soaking into the earth. Follow Bruce and the killer into the woods or find safety? Find safety. Fuck Bruce. The four of you retreat from the scene and regroup. You need to work together to stay alive. 5 reckless, 6 cautious, 6 carefree, 3 thoughtful. And Davy and Lila are dead. Bruce is missing. And our highest relationship is with June now. We should get as far away from this camp as possible, says DC. If we're fast and lucky, maybe we can get to the parking lot before that butcher finds us. But what about Mrs. Ernest, says June. We'd be leaving her to die. Plus, if we get to Mrs. Ernest, we can use her landline to call for help. All I know is our cell phones don't have service out in these stupid woods, so we can't call for the police. And even if we could, it would take them way too long to get here at this rate this is going. The administrative cabin is totally the other direction than the parking lot. That's a suicide mission. Kim is practically frozen in fear and has no comment. I say we go to the parking lot and get out of here. I say we go to the administrative cabin and warn Mrs. Ernest. Let's go to the cabin. What? DC is flabbergasted. What? Do you have a death wish? You think June will like you if you follow her idiotic plan? Newsflash, dude. It's not worth it. I guarantee this girl's affection is not worth dying for. June retorts. You're being such a jerk right now. You're heartless. Well, I'll literally have my heart removed by a serial killer if I stay at this camp much longer, he says. Mrs. Ernest needs our help. The four of you make your way across the campground toward the administrative cabin. Oh, excuse me. You gaze out at Lake Stabbiwaka as you run along the shore, moonlight reflecting off the tranquil surface. It looks like the storm cloud June saw earlier is rolling in. Drops of rain begin pattering down, infrequently but in growing numbers. You're nearing the cabin now. In the distance, you see a hulking figure approaching you. He grits a shovel, and in the moonlight, you see he has a thick black beard and dark coat. Kim screams and DC begins backing away in fear. The man is about 50 yards away, lumbering across the campground in the pale light. June looks at the man, then at you. Come on, let's go, she cries to you. Look over at the small shed on the shore of the lake. Surely there's an oar, or a knife, or some other tool that can be used as a weapon in there. You could run in and grab something and fight. Time's running out. Let's find a weapon and fight. You run over to the shed and throw the door open. Let's get out of here, cries DC. The man is getting closer. You emerge from the shed, wielding a heavy oar. Now or never. You run at the hulking man and attack, swinging desperately at his massive body. The man grapples with you, dropping his shovel, managing to push you away and knock the oar out of your hands. What are you doing? He growls, his voice deep and guttural. I'll have you fired, you freak. You're breathing heavily, your heart nearly exploding out of your chest. Fired, you cough? Do you trust this giant of a man? I'm the Stabbiwaka groundskeeper, snarls the man. I heard screaming, so I went looking around. Now I see you slashed up the tires on all the cars, and you're going ballistic with an oar. What's the meaning of this? Slash the tires. The murderer must have made sure you can't escape. June comes running to your side and helps you up. Groundskeeper, do you realize there's a murderer running around this camp? DC butts in from a safe distance. Get away from him. You can't seriously trust the guy. He could be the killer. The groundskeeper takes a step away from you and June. If what you're saying is true, does Mrs. Ernest know? A dark figure leaps from the shadowy forest behind the groundskeeper. The mysterious man digs a long knife into the groundskeeper's back, causing him to stumble to his knees in agony. The groundskeeper coughs up a thick mouthful of blood as a figure concealed in shadows steps around him, gliding the side of his knife against the groundskeeper's shoulders to clean off the fresh blood. You? Please, forgive me, gasps the groundskeeper as he looks up at the man. The groundskeeper looks up at you. Run, he shouts. I don't think he can really shout if he's got blood in his mouth. You get up to sprint as the groundskeeper reaches out and latches onto the mysterious man's legs, slowing him down long enough for you to escape with June, DC, and Kim. You hear the groundskeeper let out a final cry of pain as the murderer lands a finishing blow and vanishes back into the trees. You sprint the rest of the way to the administrative cabin, and upon reaching it, see the door is slightly open. You carefully push open the creaky door and walk into the quiet building. The sound of your group's nervous breathing fills the room. Run, you hear from inside the cabin. Save yourselves! It's Mrs. Ernest's voice. From the shadows emerges Mrs. Ernest, and she's held tightly by a short, muscular, balding man. The man is holding a pair of hedge clippers up to Mrs. Ernest's throat, the rusty blade pressed against her skin. This is definitely not the same man that killed the groundskeeper. June gasps. That's Charles Akron, the escaped convict. I remember seeing a news report with his picture. Give me your cell phones and car keys, shrieks Akron. You have 10 seconds or I slice this hog's throat. Phones and keys are useless, pleads June desperately. There's no service out here, and our cars have all been slashed apart. We're all trapped. Akron presses the blade against Mrs. Ernest's neck slightly harder. What do you mean slash? Who destroyed your cars? Was it the same person that sliced the damn phone line? You all exchange terrified glances. There's someone else here, Akron, you say. Someone that's already killed at least 3 people. Probably 4. Akron throws Mrs. Ernest down on the ground and delivers a swift kick to her stomach. The 4 of you shuffle out of the way as he steps outside the cabin and looks around. The rain is beginning to pick up, as the drop has become a steady shower. Across the campground you can see the same dark figure, waiting, his knife gleaming. Who the hell are you? He shouts. No response. Well, he must have a way out of here if he's keeping you all hostage, chuckles Akron as he grips the hedge clippers tighter. His knuckles turning white, he steps out into the rain and walks towards the dark figure, waving the clippers menacingly. June and Kim help up Mrs. Ernest as you and DC watch Akron run at the dark figure. Satan versus Beelzebub. I've heard of the rooting for the lesser 2 evils, says DC, but I honestly don't know who I want to win this fight. Best case scenario, one of them kills the other, but in the process is mortally wounded. How can we escape? Asks Mrs. Ernest in desperation. We murder both of the murderers. We hop in a boat and go to the other side of the lake. We hide until morning and wait until the guards looking for Akron find us. Or we walk out of here while those 2 are distracted. I guess the boats are good, right? We hop in a boat and go to the other side of the lake. Mrs. Ernest scratches her head for a moment. I like it, she says. We'll need fuel. I think there's some on the other side of the camp, in the tool shed near the trails. You all leave the cabin as Acorn and the dark figure duel on the outskirts of the forest. You make your way between cabins as rain pours down. You look back and see a man following you, stumbling and holding his wounded arm. Wait a second, that's Bruce. Das Bruce. He leans over to you, blood dripping from his arm. What the hell happened? Asked DC. Why the hell did you follow the guy into the woods? Bruce grunts a tough, heroic grunt. I almost had him. I finally caught up with him. We fought for a minute, but he caught me in the arm and I fell down a hill. He must have thought I died, but I dragged myself out of there. Damn. You feel I am Bruce on the plan. Sounds good, he says. I'm still down to kill that guy. I got a good look at him while we were fighting. He's got red hair and a long scar across his jaw. Mrs. Ernest's mouth falls open. Oh my god, that's little Jim Reed's father. Jim Reed, asked DC. That's the boy that died here a few years ago. Tragic accident. His father blamed the camp. He must be getting revenge. Amazing. If not a little bit loud. Our highest relationship is with June. And Charles Akron will kill us, apparently. And the groundskeeper did not like us. The tool shed is up ahead. You run to the door and find a padlock is holding it secure. Mrs. Ernest, where's the key? You ask. She digs through her pockets, then her eyes open wide. I must have given the key to Akron when he made me give him my phone and car keys. She stumbles over as if punched in the stomach and winded. I'm sorry, I didn't even realize. Bruce walks over to the shed. We don't have time to go back. We can break it open. He plants a hard kick on the wooden door. Bruce lands kick after kick on the door, slowly splintering the wet wood. You hear something rolling behind you, bouncing across the soggy ground like a heavy ball. You turn and peer out into the dark rain, then look down at your feet. It's the severed head of Charles Akron. Can I read now, or are you going to keep going on? There's a burst of lightning, and you can see the dark figure, now illuminated, complete with red hair and a long scar on his jaw, about 30 yards away. He spins a long knife between his fingers as he stares at you. Bruce kicks in the battered door, opening up the tool shed. The group explodes into panic as they too see the mysterious red-haired man. Grab the fuel, cries Bruce as he reaches into the shed and pulls out a saw from the shelf with his good arm. He charges towards the man and the blind fairy. June, DC, and Ken sprint into the shed and start looking for the fuel, while Mrs. Ernest is frozen in fear. I'm sorry, is all she can muster. Sorry that she lost the shed key. Sorry that she brought you all here. Sorry that she let little Jim Reed die. It was an accident. Help Bruce fight the red-haired man or help look for fuel? Let's help Bruce. You reach into the shed and pull out a long plank of wood, then run after Bruce towards the red-haired man. Bruce and the man clash saw against knife, struggling to fight on the slippery ground. He's faster than you expect, and stronger too. You're knocked aside almost immediately in the fray. Pang! The red-haired man hits Bruce's saw out of his hands and sends it flying through the air. Slunk. With one swift swing, he slices off Bruce's good hand. Bruce drops down to one knee. Ice sweats on the bloody stump of his arm. His face turns pale. Jesus Christ. The red-haired man plunges his knife deep into Bruce's chest, causing him to cough up a lungful of blood. The killer looks over at you, eyes hot with rage. He tends to yank the blade out of Bruce's body, but holds it tight. But Bruce holds tight. Bruce grabs hold of the red-haired man with his wounded hand and bites down on the man's wrist. Get away, he commands with muffled words as he bites harder. Damn. For a long moment, the red-haired man struggles with Bruce until he finally throws him into the mud. Sploosh. Bruce distracted the man long enough for June to find the fuel, and with a heroic effort, she splashes a wave of gasoline on the red-haired man. He sets back for a moment, shirt soaked in fuel. DC runs up close and pulls out his lighter, flicking it on. He throws the lighter, and through some miracle, the rain doesn't put it out. In a blazing explosion, the man erupts into flames as the gasoline ignites. He cries out in agony and runs off into the woods, crashing down a hill and plummeting into the darkness. We did it, stutters Kim, a visible wave of relief flooding over her. Haven't you ever seen a scary movie? Says DC. He's not dead. Not yet. He'll be back any second. We still have to get out of here. We have a little bit of fuel left. Let's go. June rushes over to Bruce's body. He's gasping for shallow breaths, losing way too much blood, way too fast. She rips off her shirt and wraps it around the stump of his arm to slow the bleeding. Damn. Quick, she shouts. Get the medical kit from the tool shed. I think I saw one in there. You dart into the tool shed and look around. On one wall, there's a medical kit. On the other, an axe. You hear rustling in the woods through the heavy rainfall. Let's get the medical kit. I mean, you might as well, right? You snatch out the medical kit off the wall and rush outside to June. She starts hurriedly wrapping up Bruce's wounds. Go to work, she breathes, and hugs you tightly. Bruce raises the weak hand and points behind you. He can barely speak, but he calls, Look out! Cough. The red-haired man, badly burnt and fuming with anger, barrels out of the woods swinging his knife wildly. He catches June in the back with the blade as she jumps out to save you. June collapses to the ground, a grisly knife wound in her back. You fall backwards as the man stands over you. He raises his knife high above his head, but before he can strike you, you grab a handful of mud and throw it up in his eyes. He squints and stumbles backwards, vulnerable and blinded for a moment in which you grab Bruce's saw off the ground and spin around, slashing the red-haired man's neck. Blood spurts out as he crumples to the ground, grabbing at his throat desperately and fruitlessly. He rolls on his back, writhing in agony for a moment before perishing in the rain. There's a unanimous sigh of relief from the group. Mrs. Ernest runs past you, grabs a medical kit and starts patching up June. She's breathing, nervously. I can't feel my legs, she whimpers, tears welling up in her eyes. Kim runs up to you. You saved us all. She looks up at you, eyes twinkling in the moonlight and wetting her short red hair, biting her lip. The slender girl leans in to kiss you. Kiss her or pull away? Really pull away because ill. You push Kim away and take a step backwards. She looks at you, innocently and confused. Then it all hits you. How had you not seen it? She was the one that killed Davy. She had been alone with him when he died. Why was she spared? It never occurred to you that Davy and Lili were killed almost at the same time. The red-haired man couldn't have been at both ends of the camp at once. Her red hair, the same red hair as the murderer, Mr. Reed. She's his daughter, and the brother of little Jim Reed. You look down and see she's holding a switchblade. It's knitted and ready to cut. She swishes the knife at you, but you jump away, the blade slicing through your wet shirt. You wrestle the knife out of Kim's hand and throw her down. With the help of DC, you restrain her, then tie her up with the rope from the tool shed. The next morning, you had gotten very little sleep that night. The sun is rising, the storm having passed a few hours ago. As a group, you decided that you and DC would go out and try to find help while June and Mrs. Ernest stayed with Bruce and Kim. Either guards looking for Charles Aikman will find you, or you'll make it to the main road and get to the nearest town. You and DC wander down the wet dirt road out of Camp Stabbiwaka. Dude, laughs DC, you know what really sucks about everything that happened? Now June can't even look at us without thinking about some horrible tragedy. Caught blood by a serial killer. The nerve of that guy. You laugh and joke with him while you walk. Hey, did you hear the one about the guy with the dead body? He got home and his wife was dead in his backyard, just sprawled on the grass. The damn dog must have done her up again. Alright, that was the end. Nope. Nope. Okay. Okay, well, that would have been some good, fun music, but we're not doing that bullshit because I'm not getting my ass copyrighted. I hope you enjoyed this. It was a very lengthy read. I'll see you all in the next video. Have fun, be safe, and enjoy yourself. Bye for now.